draft motion, which I gave to Kathy.
Which I think is a good compromise, that council accept in principle, I get Casey to read this, but I don't think she'll be able to read your brain. The council accept in principle the draft terms of reference of the Solid Waste and Resource Management Task Force and direct staff to advertise for members.
Yeah, that's correct. Does that cover?
So guess the ball rolling.
I mean, there are things we have to do. Okay.
I move that.
You moving that?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Alice. Any further discussion on it? No?
I could just ask if council members do have comments about the terms of reference, to send them to Will and I for input, and then we'll bring back the final version in the future.
Okay. Is that fine with everybody? Question, all those in favor? Unanimous. Thanks, Will.
Thank you, worship, councilors.
Our next item of business, and this is under the CAO's day, reappointment of the interim deputy corporate officer.
No, well, this is short, so in concert with the naming of Kathy Lalonde as interim CAO, there's that need to cover her duties with respect to managing the admin services. And the solution there was the recommendation that council appoint Lisa Rynch as interim deputy corporate officers, but there's a little bit more to it than that, I think.
Yeah, it's a municipal officer position, whether it's a deputy or not. That's why it's being brought forward to council. Normally it would be just, a situation like this would just be handled in-house. But as it is an officer position, it requires a council resolution to make the appointment. And it would just be in the interim while I'm in the interim CAO position. And it's deputy because she'll just be taking over some of the duties.
So we should have a long discussion on this, right? 10, 15 minutes? You've only allocated 5.
A few minutes ahead of schedule.
Oh, we are, we could start.
No, we're right on it.
I will move that council appoint Lisa Rynch as interim deputy corporate officer.
Second.
Any, ready for the question? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous.
And our next item of business is the correspondence from Eddie Wise Miller, J&E Backhoe, regarding operation of a horizontal hub grinder.
I'm gonna
Yes,
excuse
if
myself.
you can just give your, we have to have an official reason.
Yeah, I'm excusing myself because I received part of my income from Eddie Weisberger.
Same with me, PRS is a contractor.
So the next question is, do we have?
What was that other conflict?
Required
PRS is a contractor, so that's.
Does that mean I have to leave too?
No, one.
Why don't you?
So, we have 4.
We have 4.
Councilor Moore, he's not a contractor directly to you, so.
Well,
PRS.
PRS looks after the water system.
Yeah,
for-
that's, I think you're safe with not.
Yeah, I don't think there's conflict.
And why was it not considered?
A little sooner.
We can do a lot of
Except
things
for all the
out of
ones
the
we-
room. Well, we have to deal with this letter that is it attached? Yeah, it is attached.
Page 11.
Page 11. And should we have Bill speak to this? Speak to this? Or should we just discuss page 11? Page 1 through.
You should ask that.
I don't know.
So this is it.
I would ask the people who put forward the correspondence to speak to their correspondence and what they're requesting of council.
Well, I think maybe first we need to speak, then we should let J&E speak first. And I believe Bill Newport's going to speak.
I think he's representing them anyway.
So why don't we ask Bill to say something with respect to that letter of February 6th.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor, Council, staff. What you have in front of you was the problem that the bylaw officer, the letter from the bylaw officer to Ed's operation of the horizontal tub grinder. And basically what that letter said was that the property was not a permitted use to operate the horizontal tub grinder. And then a letter was sent to say cease and desist, and if you don't, we're gonna fine you. The other letters that you have that are in the same item are from the neighbors that abut this particular piece of property. And all those letters that you have there are referring to the up-and-coming zoning changes. The two topics are different. And I'm suggesting to council that at this time, that you do not discuss the letters regarding zoning. And then you can talk just on the subject of a possible workaround on the horizontal tub grinder, which was the original letter. Now, I don't know how you go about that, or whether that's what council would wish to do, but that's my suggestion, my first suggestion, and then we can get into the letter.
So rather than, I think that's a good suggestion, and I think you should speak to your letter, or to Jamie's letter, as opposed to dealing with the letters that have appeared supposedly in opposition
Sure.
to the application that you're, or at least the comments that you're making to council.
Okay, fine, thank you. If council does decide on the letters, I do have comments that are related to those, but again, I'll just keep those aside. There's three major, I'll call them major, companies that look after the disposal of green waste on their properties. That's J&E Backhoe at their pit property at the head of Buchanan Road. There's Twin Island and their Crown Land. And there's the municipality at their Salal Road site. Actually nowhere on Bowen Island, not just these three areas, but nowhere on Bowen Island is a permitted use to use a tub grinder. And nowhere on Bowen Island is a permitted use to burn on transported green wood waste. So we've come up with this problem before, even though J&E had the permits in place. So now the bylaw officer went up and said to the tub grinder that Ed just got, don't use it anymore. So now the green waste is piling up. And he'd like to be able to continue on a temporary basis of using the tub grinder until the municipality decides what the policies are going to be. And we tried this in back in 2010. It was related to burning, but it's the same issue. There's nowhere is there a permitted use to allow on-island disposal of green waste, burning or chipping. So there was two possibilities. And you can pass a resolution to hold in abeyance enforcement of the land use bylaw until these permitted uses are put into place, or you can issue a temporary land use permit that would allow J&E to carry on with the horizontal tub grinder until the issue was dealt with. And if you tell one that you can't burn or you can't tub grind, then neither can the municipality and neither can Twin Island and neither can anyone else on the island. So there's where we're at, and I think the easiest thing to do, and I think the wording has to be something different than Ed's letter here, But that's pass a resolution holding them abeyance until it's looked after. So that's where we're at right at the present time.
Can history speak? Well, I'm going to
History?
about the floor. I'm just gonna pass around the 2 pages of the minutes from the May 17th, 2010 meeting, and also the agenda from that meeting, which will just clarify the notations made on page 1. We did not, and here's some,
Like, is there, are you passing 4?
there's 2 pages. They're sorted, so each little bundle is a bundle, so, so there was no May 27th meeting that I can find out that's referred to on the bottom of page 2 of the letter. May 17th, as per the agenda that I passed out, there was a proposal which starts at the bottom of item 2.2 at the bottom of the front page. And that motion was never made and never brought to council, not moved. What was actually moved is in the minutes, which is on page 2, and that staff be directed to report back to council as soon as practical regarding the legality and ramifications of the following proposed motion, that staff identify an appropriate vehicle to be used in regards to continuation of clean air-assisted off-site burning of land clearing debris until April 15th, 2011. And I'm guessing that staff didn't act on that because according to this letter on May 10th, they were advised that there would be a rezoning application coming forward. So that's just sort of to put the context, the facts. And then, so yes, we don't have to legally enforce our bylaws, and we could pass a motion to hold enforcement in place or abeyance, but I'm just not quite sure how we do that without some good general practices being agreed to by all the people. Are we opening up Pandora's box? And the second one, issue a temporary land use permit. Temporary use permits we don't just issue, they're a process, and the owner of the land that wants to have a temporary use has to apply for the temporary use, and there's a whole public process that goes with that. So that would probably take 2 months by the time you've done the notices, done the public process.
If we had staff.
Well, if we could engage a contractor to do it for us. And I guess are we just talking about, and I think a lot of the issues with the grinder, as I'm hearing, is the noise issue, and truck traffic. So I mean, looking at a temporary use permit maybe isn't a bad way to consider it, because you can put all sorts of operating conditions in a temporary use permit, like it only runs for 2 hours at a time, and only between the hours of 9 and 3 when the school kids aren't on the road, and, you know, for trucking out, you can put all sorts of conditions on
Except that
things.
none of those conditions would work because other trucks would be using the highway
Well, I'm talking about the
and
access roads through small, I'm throwing all those out as examples of types of conditions that you can put on. I haven't really
but there
given it a
weren't
lot
any
of thought.
conditions put to this.
Well, no, and that agenda item was never passed and never moved and seconded. All that happened at that meeting is what's in the minutes, which is asking staff to come back and talk about legality, some way of doing something. Because we also were talking about burning at that point in time, and we were cognizant of the rules for Metro Vancouver and the Sea to Sky.
As I understand it, J&E has their licenses from everywhere, am I right? Except for,
Not for this.
It's
no,
not-
not for this, but, sir, Bill, maybe you can set us straight.